Hello and welcome to the Cancer Journey podcast. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Shariann.
Let's start with pest check-in. So I'll go first.
Okay.
So physically, I am an 8.25. Emotionally, I am an 8. Spiritually, I am an 8.25. And my hope is an 8.5, and my word is accomplished.
All right. Let's see where I am today in this moment. All right. So physically, I am 7.75. Emotionally, 8.75. Spirit, 9.25. Hope, 9. And my word is blooming.
So today we're wanting to talk about purpose. What is purpose? It's a really big word, and I think that it can mean a lot of different things to different people. So we're just going to start by talking about generally what is purpose, and then how we really see it here at the Cancer Journey Institute.
Right. Let's start really broad.
Mm-hmm.
So purpose, just in a general definition, is almost like an end goal, right? It's like, what am I doing this for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, what comes to mind is Billie Eilish's song "What Was I Made For." And it kind of even just be like the energy of that song. It's very a little sad, and like it makes you kind of reflective of like, what was I made for? Like, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? Like, what makes me special? What makes me different? What makes me feel accomplished? What makes me feel whole?
Yeah. No, I like where you're coming from, because for me, purpose is not only a powerful word, but an essential element of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that even from a really young age, I was like, what's my purpose in life? We're just kind of going around like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then in school, it was like, okay, am I going to go to college? If I do, what's the purpose of that? Okay, higher education. So there was always a meaning or a reason why something was being done.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward to my work life. I spent most of my beginning work life in corporate. Okay, I dabbled here and there with other things, but the majority of it was corporate. And I really learned the concept of, so this is what we're doing, and it's kind of the why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why are we doing this?
And I think that purpose, while it's a huge, big thing, and that it is something we're always searching for, we often put our own value in what our purpose is. And if we are living a life that isn't aligned with whatever we think we should be doing or what resonates with us, or what other people tell us we're meant to do, or what our value is, without thinking about what really matters to us, that really throws us out of alignment. And I think that personally, that like purpose always gives that air of like something's being held, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like it's so hard to achieve that purpose. Like I know that when I was growing up, like going to college, going straight from high school to college and trying to figure out exactly what knowing your purpose right away, I
Mm-hmm.
did not know that. I don't think it's really fair that we assume people should know that, but there's this idea of like a constant search. And I think there are many, many times that we all get to feel fulfilled in what our purpose is, whether we recognize it at that time or not, but we can feel that like wholeness. Um, but I think that a cancer journey, more than anything, really rocks that off its center of gravity.
Absolutely. I am 180% with you on that one. Well, and so we grew up in different generations. So my generation was get a good job. Okay, get an education. Or if you didn't get an education, get a good job. And then, find your partner, um, create a family, buy a house. It's like this,
Mhm.
I call it the Norman Rockwell picture. And
Mhm.
it's like, that's for everyone. But yet, here we go. We're handed this out. Like, okay, here's a card. This is what you're supposed to do. And that becomes your purpose
Mhm.
or your why. And it's like, wait a minute. We're such individuals, which is what you're speaking to. We're not even taking in consideration what is it that I want and
Mhm.
what is fulfilling for me and meaningful to me. And you mentioned values. It's like, yeah, that's what's important to me. So I'm kind of envious of your generation because we didn't say, here you go, this is what you're going to do when you get older, or this is where you should
Mhm.
aspire to. It's what do you what do you want?
Yeah. And I think that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still get that pressure, not from you, thankfully, but a lot of people in my generation still get that pressure, or at least it's so baked into our culture that it's like, oh, that's the clear next step. But I don't think of those things as that's your purpose. You were not created, you're not here on this earth to check off those things on the checklist, regardless of, how much you want them. That's not what we're here to do, and that's not who we as individuals were made for. Specifically, only that. We're here for so much more. We're here for the everyday, we're here for the short term. It's not like those are all really great long term goals, but what about what's right here? And what's right here will get you there, especially when what's right here is aligned with what really matters to you. Once you really find what that is and you feel good about it. I mean, I very much believe in like the energy that we put into like the world and the energy that we carry with us. It's the law of attraction. So we attract that good energy that leads to those great wonderful things like, finding a partner and getting that great job that is gonna like fuel your life and growing that way. I think you can only truly grow into the person you're meant to be if you have a purpose and are aligned with what's meant for you now.
Absolutely. And along those lines is our purpose is not out there. It is here. And then, I mean, just kind of flowing with what you said, it's like being present with me and who I am, and then bringing my best self so that my wherever I'm going, my purpose is unfolding. I'm learning about me and who I am, and then I can make a contribution to the world based on me,
Mm-hmm.
not that card that I was talking about, the Norman Rockwell. It's like you should, and somebody else telling us what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. I just remember that when I was little. It's like be a leader, and it's like, well, some people lead in a different way, and it's there's I this is such an important concept to me because I really embrace the uniqueness of everyone. And in our uniqueness is our purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And only we truly know what that is. And it's only within us that we get to communicate that with those around us to continue to be further in line with what matters to us. So at the cancer journey, we're meeting so many people after they've already begun their cancer journey. It is quite rare that we meet people right before their cancer journey. And even when we do, it's like we get to have this great um, dialogue with them about what's to come next throughout their journey. And something that we find so often is people saying, I thought I had it all together. And then I got cancer, or cancer entered my life in some way, and everything changed. My whole perspective changed. And so by the time they're further along their journey, they're looking for a way back to that person who knew what their
Right.
purpose was. But what we know better than anyone else is that, not better than anyone else, I'm sorry. What we know really well is that you're changed by this journey. You're not that same person you were before. And it's time to discover who this person is now.
Right. And I mean, yes, we may have known or thought we knew what our purpose was, and it does change. And I think that the cancer journey, the one that whether you're a patient or a survivor or a thriver or a caregiver is on, is that opportunity to just like pause, slow things down, and really go, was that what I really wanted? Because I just went through something that was probably one of the hardest things I had to do, including being a caregiver. So I'm really aware that life is short. What do I want to do with the rest of my life?
Mm-hmm.
And have that be purposeful, meaningful, and fulfilling. I mean, I think those three words actually go together. It's like when you're on purpose, you feel meaningful,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're fulfilled. And not only the cancer journey, but I have seen individuals who were on a cancer journey and they also retired. Sometimes it goes hand in hand, sometimes it doesn't. But I see them like searching and swirling. It's like, so what do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not that job that I put myself into or that career, who am I? And I think purpose is without those labels, like doctor's lawyer, Indian chief. It's like, who am I in a definition that feels real and authentic?
Yeah. And so what I picked up from what you just said is not just who do I want to be, it's how do I want to feel. Like how, like based on how I live and what I choose to do for work, do with my family, do with my friends, do by myself, um do with strangers, I don't know, just the people and community around me. How do I want to feel? Because even going back to when you were saying like not everyone's going to lead in the same way, right? Not everyone's going to be like domineering and needing to take control and has a lot of energy. There's a way to also be a leader and be soft and be um really gentle, and you get to make that choice. And I think that's when it gets hardest to stand your ground, is when someone tells you that's not how you do it. It's like, but this is how I want to do it because it feels good to me. And I think everyone should be allowed to have that opportunity.
Right. And we don't go to school, or there is not a school called Purpose School
Yeah.
that teaches us our purpose or helps us unfurl it or unwrap it. And I think that the Cancer Journey Institute gets to be that school.
Yeah, like we give people a place to put that and to have that.
Hmm.
So
Right.
Shariann, I want to ask, what is purpose to you?
Well, a lot of what I said, it's meaning and contribution, and
I want to
it's
pause.
like,
I want to re-ask that question. What is
okay,
your purpose?
ah,
Sorry.
okay. So, as I said, we like to think that the Cancer Journey Institute is the school, and we do focus on individuals that have gone on a cancer journey. Again, patients, survivors, thrivers, caregivers. Really, that works out to be almost the entire world, just so everybody knows. So everybody has been touched with cancer, regardless of whether you were the active caregiver, you were there on the journey with your beloved, mostly. Um, so having said that, my belief in what my purpose is that we're all, I'm going to use my puzzle analogy, where there's this universal puzzle. I'm sure everybody has seen a puzzle, if not put a puzzle together. And you have all these little pieces, and the puzzle has a design in totality. but each of the pieces are a unique part of that total picture. And it's a different shape, has its own shape. It has a different picture on top of it, or texture, or look to it. And I believe that each one of us is a unique piece of this universal puzzle. So that because we look the way that we look, we're shaped the way we are shaped. And when we're trying to see, what is my purpose? Where do I fit into the large scheme of things? When you find your place in that puzzle, it goes like this. It fits like just so elegantly. I mean, I recently did a puzzle and the pieces were kind of similar, and I was like trying to force it into the space, and I'm like, why am I forcing this? Keeping this idea in mind that everybody has their thing.
Yeah.
So what is yours? And I'm now pointing to myself. What is mine that I do uniquely? Because, right, I'm a unique shape, I'm a unique texture, color, all of that fits into the whole scheme of everything. And through a series of exercises that we take our individuals through at the Cancer Journey Institute, I've knitted down what used to be a statement down to 2 words. And so I know this is a long story, but I just wanted to kind of get the context of that. My 2 words are fierce love. And when I am standing in my purpose of fierce love, I could feel myself shining and beaming. Like, I know this is me. This feels so right. And when I say fierce, it's not that I'm like a lion, but I have tenacity that I want everyone to know that they are loved, and that they can love, and that they can love themselves. And oftentimes when I'm working with my clients or our trainees, I will love them more than they can love themselves. And that's the fierceness. It's like, you deserve this. I'm going to give this to you, or I'm going to help you get to that love space. And that's me. You can expect that when you're with me, and I can expect that of myself in my most true, elegant, easy space that I can just slide into my puzzle pieces space. That's who I am.
Yeah.
How about you, Alicia?
Well, I just wanted to say 2 cents on your fierce love. It's so funny because with all of the experience, I feel like even just doing these podcasts, it's so evident to feel your fierce love and what you've put into this company and making it what it is. Like, it embodies fierce love. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen our logo with the heart that's like bursting out, but if that's just not Shariann, I don't know what is. Um, she chose that logo before she really deciphered the fierce love part of it. So it's just indicative of what's always been there and what's very true for you, and how you share that in your community and like where it spreads too. So those were my 2 cents. Um, my purpose that I've honed down to my 2-word statement is considerate leadership. It's not quite as sexy as a fierce love there, but it is something that makes me feel really whole, knowing that I can provide leadership and move people forward, but in a very considerate way. Kind of similar to how you were saying leaders before, like they don't need to be domineering, and I wouldn't want to be, but the intensity and the energy that I do carry does push a lot of things forward. But by pushing things forward, I don't want to leave people behind, and I don't want people to be unacknowledged. So that's where a lot of that comes in for me. And I do want to make sure that I have compassion for other people as I am leading them, or I don't like to be like, I'm taking charge and I'm the first one. It's more like we put our arms together and we're going, okay, let's go together, we're doing it together, instead of me standing at the front on a podium like speaking to people and telling them what to think or what to do. It's more like, well, what do you guys think? Like, let's initiate the conversation all together. Let's see where everyone's at and be that impetus to collaborate more. So that's where my purpose is. Um, and
Wait,
it,
wait, wait. I want to reflect on compassionate leader
okay,
because I got,
not compassionate leader, it's considerate
I'm
leader.
sorry, considerate leader. I got to see you grow into this. I mean, because I think that, well, that, so that whatever it is has always been there. But of course it needs to like, because I said bloom today, didn't I?
Mhm.
Like a seedling and then, it blooms into what it's supposed to be. I love the analogy of flowers don't compete. They just are who they are. And if they have a petal that's odd, that just contributes to their beauty. Love that. And I have gotten to see what I didn't realize was your true leadership and way of leading. And I do now, and I embrace it because it's like, wow, right. She didn't need to be a cookie cutter of me or anybody else. You needed to express yourself. And what I didn't realize was your expression of trying to find that, okay, I'm going to get it wrong again. Consideration, right? The
Considerate.
consideration
Mhm.
of everybody. So it was like, what is she doing? And how is she doing what she's doing? And now I get it. It's
Mhm.
like, I am not a solo gig. I am not out there trudging ahead and then looking back, 50 yards going, why are you guys so slow? Hurry up. You're like, come on, y'all. Let's all go together, arms spread out and bringing them in with the consideration of who they are.
Mhm.
I mean, I think you've really got the concept of this whole universal puzzle, which is the puzzle is not complete until everybody is themselves. And the puzzle is beautiful when everybody stands up and takes their place.
Yeah. And I will say that, like, since I've stepped into that and I'm able to communicate more, because that's what the considerate part is. It's a lot of communication. Like, not everyone wants to hurry up and come along. Then not everyone, like, sometimes I'm not able to kind of fall back in line with them. Sometimes it's just that I just get to acknowledge where they are. Maybe we're not at the same point, and I get to acknowledge that and be like, okay, like you're still welcome, and I hope I'm welcome there, but we want to be in our separate spaces right now, and that's totally fine. But even to vocalize that with people and be able to connect asking for what I need and also asking them for what they need has been such a game changer. And like all of my friendships, my relationships, I've been able to really like see how um my purpose really fuels a lot of that connection, or figuring out when there's not a connection and being able to like let it go with grace, because that happens and that's just natural with people as we like learn and grow. Or like I often get the feedback that I'm very very wise for my age. I don't necessarily think I'm very wise for my age. I think I'm constantly learning, but I stand on the shoulders of people who came before me, and I am eager to learn and grow and help people forward. So if people who are my age aren't on that same path, I can still acknowledge them for where they're at, but I can't expect them to be where I am either. And so standing in my purpose really, really allows me to just be okay with that. Because otherwise it can
Yeah,
be really frustrating. Like,
yeah,
oh, I'm
yeah.
alone with people my age and no one gets me. It's like, that's not true.
Right, right. And so conversely, if I see people who don't know what their purpose is, or maybe they do have an inkling, but they really haven't stepped into it, and they're floundering, and they're not valuing themselves because got to start here first. So
Hmm.
they don't know how to contribute to a situation, to a job, to a role, to the world.
Hmm.
And the world really needs all of us. I mean, I say that hands down, no negotiations. The world needs every single one of us. We have a purpose. And it breaks my heart actually when people aren't stepping into the purpose. Now, it takes work to figure out what it is. It doesn't just go, bling, here, I'm going to give it to you. And oh, isn't it magical that you like it or that you feel that this is right for you? Because nobody gave me my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with individuals, and we always did it in collaboration of what's here. I mean, and it's a process. It's a pretty intense process, but such a joyous process because you're being seen. It does take other people to give you some feedback so that you can actually own what you bring and see
Mm-hmm.
for yourself that, oh, right, this is the easier path. This is who I am just kind of naturally. And if I step into it, here's what's possible,
Mm-hmm.
which brings me to the question of, when somebody knows their purpose, so what? What would you say to that question? So what?
I'd say once you know your purpose and you start choosing to live by it or acknowledging it, things fall into place. And sometimes things just make more sense because you have a clear definition for yourself of what kind of is and isn't for you. And so it gives you something to play with. Um, and I think that what you're saying is that, like, we really need that school, that school of life where people come to, and there's a place to put all that. It's like an impartial third party who's able to kind of show up and listen to you um, talk about all of these interactions you've had and how you felt when they resonated with you and they didn't resonate you. And it really helps to have someone who reflects it to be able to see truly what does align for you. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm going to do my takeaway. So my takeaway
Okay.
is that purpose, while it is a very often used word, um, isn't all that easy. And I think a lot of people ignore the fact, not ignore, aren't aware of the fact, or they're not ready to acknowledge the fact that they have so much impact in this world. And we have good and bad impact, active and passive. Um, but sometimes even just trying to acknowledge it can be so overwhelming to them. But if they were willing to do the work and take that on and figure out what their purpose was, they would start to live a life that's a lot more fulfilling for them. Um, and my word is bloom now. I love that word.
So my takeaway is, well, obviously I've said it before, like everybody has a purpose that is uniquely theirs. And I think in my fierce love, my purpose, that it is, I'm taking on the job of helping those who want to know what their unique puzzle piece is. And I do it with generosity, with abundance, with fierceness. Because it's like, really? Are you going to let this opportunity go by? I didn't go through 5 cancers and take life lightly. I mean, I am fierce with life. And, oh, when you do have your purpose and you get to own it and say it, it's like, it feels like home. I'm home. I'm home with myself. I know where I fit in. And now I get to just be me. No
Yeah.
apologies. Just be me. So my word is own it. It's 2 words with a hyphen in between. Own it.
Well, thank you for tuning in today. We drop new episodes every Friday, so we'll see you next week.
Bye for now.